All right, big game breakdown. Here we go. The early game, 3 o'clock Pacific, game 2. Raptors season on the line. They're at home against Cleveland. It is 6.5 and 212.5 the total. Same old Raptors. They've lost 7 in a row in the playoffs to Cleveland. They are 2 and 13 all time in game 1 of a series. Cleveland is 18 and 1 all time when they take a 1-0 series lead. LeBron goes 12 of 30. He doesn't score in overtime. He finishes, 3 of 15, and they win the frickin' game. Ty Lue, we definitely stole one. We didn't play our best game, and I think they know that as well, shooting 41%. We usually do a better job. That's unacceptable by the Raptors. Horrible offense in the fourth quarter. The bench let them down. Wright didn't play well. Pirtle missed a ton of bunnies. Valanciunas missed a ton of easy shots in the fourth quarter. How do they respond? They're supposed to come out, but it's cause for concern. That was a horrible spot for Cleveland, and they still won the game.
Sure, but one thing that you can and do see in the NBA on a regular basis, the Cavs played that grueling series against Indiana, tough game 7, short turnaround time, stole one in Toronto in OT. Is this the game that we kind of see the flat spot from Cleveland? We could. It wouldn't shock me at all if we did. But the scary thing for Toronto, you talked about the series history. You talked about the history against Cleveland. You talked about the inability to beat this team, the inability to cover spreads and win games at home in the postseason. I mean, LeBron was 3 of 15 from the floor in the fourth quarter and overtime. His quote, "It was probably one of my worst games of the season." He continued, "Definitely wasn't as efficient as I like to be. I missed a lot of open looks, open threes that were going under, a lot of floaters in the lane. And because of that injury I had in game 7, I didn't get an opportunity to get on the court Tuesday morning and Monday as well. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is trying to get the win. My teammates were unbelievable. They stepped up when I wasn't at my best." So LeBron wasn't at his best or even close, probably one of my worst games of the season, and the Cavs still won. The question is, do we see A-level LeBron here, or do we see a Cleveland team, hey, we got the 1-0 win, and relax? That's your biggest concern if you're looking at the Cavs side tonight.
Yeah, that could happen. Adjusted series price, the Cavs are minus 135 now, and Toronto didn't take care of the ball. 14 turnovers led to 21 Cleveland points. The supporting cast did show up. I thought Toronto did a bad job defensively. Again, this is simple math. 3's bigger than 2. If LeBron wants to take a contested shot this goes the same thing last night with the Jazz. If they want to take a contested shot at the rim, go for it, as opposed to a wide open 3. Korver, Smith, Ingles, Crowder, guys like this, they'll knock it down. But also, maybe they foul LeBron. He's got the yips from the free throw line, and maybe it's in his head that they finally called him for stepping over the line, that they called him on that, was shooting his free throws as well, too. That could be something to look at. But the fact that you're right, that the quote about he was gassed and tired against the Pacers, and he struggled in game 1, these games are every other day now, too. So we'll see how Toronto responds, and if that bench can step up, which let him down in game 1. And Lowry needs to be more aggressive. Come on. Played 40 minutes and took 12 shots in game 1. Unacceptable.
Well, I mean, if you ask me what the biggest storyline from game 1 is, Cavs bench outplayed the Raptors bench. And this is a Raptors bench that was elite during the regular season. It was a big part of the reason why Toronto was putting teams away. When you look at game 6 against the Wizards with Van Vliet back in the lineup for Toronto, that's exactly what they did. The starters played well, got them the lead. The bench put them away in the fourth quarter of that contest. But this quote stood out to me from Raptors head coach Dwayne Casey. Quote, "I thought we played defensively in some stretches as well as you could. Offensively, I thought we had opportunities down the stretch where we had 3 tip-ins to win the game." I'm with you, Dwayne. Defensively, Toronto was there for most of the contest. The offense fell apart down the stretch, and that's a huge issue here. Because you say, all right, the Raptors go into the fourth quarter up 10. The Raptors have an 8-point lead with 6 to go. Do you trust Toronto to close that out after the collapse in game 1 and the history they have on this floor? Really hard for me to get to the window supporting the Raptors in this ballgame, knowing that history, knowing their mentality. I think the total might be the better bet here as opposed to the side. We'll get back to total when it comes to play of the daytime. But that quote from Casey, we played defensively as well as you could in some stretches. Will Toronto be able to do that tonight? We'll talk about that to close out the show.
Yep. How about Raptors first half, too? Came out with a 14-point lead in game one and then fell apart. Actually led by 13 in the third quarter as well.
Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the games.